we're going to be doing the hands-on programming exercise for Chapter 5. That's on page 239 in your book. We're going to start by creating a copy in the Chapter 4 hands-on programming exercise. Go to your folder that's got the Chapter 4 hands-on. We're going to right-click. We're going to choose copy. Okay, I'm going to make that on my desktop, so I'm going to paste. Okay, then I'm just going to open that up, and I'm going to open the project. This was created in 2008. I downloaded it from the website, so it's going to convert it to 2010. Okay, when you've got the conversion done, you can go ahead and open your billing form. If you look at the picture, you can see that the only difference is that it doesn't have the buttons along the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by deleting those 3 buttons. Okay, the other difference you're going to see is it has pull-down menus along the top. Make sure that you've got your billing form selected. Okay, you can go down here, make sure you've got your billing form selected. What we're going to do is we're going to go into our menus and toolbars, double-click, choose your menu strip. Okay, then if you look on page 240, everything is pretty much the same. So there's just a few things that we need to add to our program in order to make it work. What we're going to do is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our tool strip menu items. So we're going to start with our file menu. To do that, we're just going to click in that first one where it says type here, and we're going to add our file. I'm going to do ampersand file. Okay, and press enter, and that adds our file. Okay, then the next thing we want to do is new order tool strip menu item. Because we don't see that in the picture, we know that that's under file. So we're just going to start typing. We can see that the N is the one that's the hotkey. When you press Alt N, that will let the user select that item. We designate that with the ampersand. So we're going to do ampersand new order. Okay, we can also see that it says that the property enabled setting false. Now, what we need to do is we need to make sure that our new order tool strip menu is selected here. If it's not, go ahead and click enter to select it, and then go back and click in it to select it. Go down and choose enabled, and we're going to click on that, and we're going to choose false. Okay, the next one that we're going to do is our summary tool strip menu, and we're going to do ampersand summary. Okay, the next one is going to be exit. Now traditionally the X in exit is the hotkey, so we're going to do ampersand exit with the X. Okay, next is our edit tool strip menu. That's a top level, so we're going to click on the next one, and we're going to do ampersand edit. Okay, after that is calculate selection. So we're going to do ampersand calculate selection. Okay, the next one is going to be clear item tool strip menu, and you don't have to worry about changing your name property, because if you notice as you type it changes the name of the tool strip item. So you don't have to worry about changing the name. It's going to change that automatically for you. Okay, so the next one we're doing is the clear items. So we're going to do clear ampersand item. Okay, the next one is going to be our font. And we're going to do ampersand font. Okay, the next one is going to be color. We don't want to do ampersand C because that's usually for clear. So we're going to do ampersand O. Okay, the next one is going to be our help tool strip menu item. So we're going to do ampersand help. And then we're going to do about. Okay, and those are all of our tool strip menu items. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that we have a color dialog and a font dialog for these two. Okay, those are dialogs that are provided for us. Okay, just like the print. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our color dialog, we're going to add that, and we're going to add our font dialog. Okay, now there's just a few things that we need to change. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at our code. So you can press F7 or you can go into your view menu and choose code. Okay, if you downloaded this, it's going to say that the programmer is Bradley Millspaw, so you need to change that to your name. Okay, all of this up top is going to be the same, so what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down. Okay, we're going to go into this first try. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to add a function here instead of doing, sorry, not there. We're going to do a function here. Okay, instead of actually doing the calculation here, what we're going to do is we're going to call a function procedure, and then we're going to write our function procedure. This is something where if you're doing the same calculation over and over again, you might want to create a function procedure that does that so that you can just call the function rather than writing it over and over and over again. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put a comment that we're calling a function procedure. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do our call. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to do find tax. Okay, that's going to be the name of our function procedure. Subtotal decimal is what we're going to pass to the function procedure so that they can perform the calculation. Okay, so this is the argument that we're passing. Now you're going to get a squiggly line because we haven't actually defined that function procedure yet, but we're going to do that here in just a minute. Okay, now if you scroll down, you're going to see that you've got this squiggly line under the new order button. The reason you've got that is because you don't have a new order button anymore. Now you have a new order tool strip menu item. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click on that to change that new order button to a tool strip menu item. Okay, then we're going to go down and we're going to create our function. So we're going to make this a private function. What that means is that it can only be called by this particular program that we're writing. We can't do it. No other programs can call it. We're creating a function, okay, as opposed to something else. Find tax is the name of it, and that's, you can see up here, that's what we named it. Okay, by val means that we're passing a value as opposed to a reference. A reference means that there's a location in memory, that whatever number happens to be in that memory location is what we're passing. We're actually passing a value that we're going to calculate. Okay, amount decimal is what we're using as decimal. Okay, and then we have to do as decimal. Okay, and what we're going to do, what this function does is it calculates the sales tax. Okay, and then we have to have a return value. Okay, and what we're going to return is we're going to return amount decimal times the tax rate decimal. Okay, and that's what we're going to return up here, which is going to assign to tax decimal. Okay, so we're going to do this calculation. So basically what we're doing is we're doing exactly what we did before. It's just that we're moving the calculation down here. But if we were doing this calculation over and over and over and over again, or if it was a more complex calculation, it would sort of make more sense, because then rather than doing it over and over and over again, we would just be doing it that once. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down and we're going to find all the places where we have things where we don't do anything anymore. Like this new order button, we don't have a new order button anymore. We have a tool strip menu item. And so we need to change that to tool strip menu item. Now something, and I think this happens in the conversion because it's a new order tool strip menu item, but it can't actually do anything. We need to have the handles here, and you saw that that popped up because it needs to handle it. So, and it handles the new order tool strip item dot click is what it actually handles. And it has to have that, otherwise it's not going to work. So if you don't have that, if you downloaded it, you're not going to have that, so you have to add that. If you have this from before, then it probably is already there, so you should be fine. And again, we're just going to scroll down here and make sure that we have all the information that we need and everything's correct. then we're not calling anything. Now here again we have the new order button. We don't have a new order button. We have a new order tool strip menu item. So we're going to make sure that we change that. We don't have a summary button anymore. We have a summary button tool strip menu item. Okay, and again, we don't have the handles, so we need to add that, and it handles the dot click. And again, we don't have a new order button. We have a new order button, and we're just going to click the click. And that line should go away when you scroll down. Okay, we don't have an exit button. Okay, we have a exit tool strip menu item. Down, and that's everything. Everything is programmed now. So we're going to go ahead and you want to save all. Okay, then go back to your billing form. We want to make sure that we've programmed everything. So we're going to pull this down. Okay, the summary, we've changed all the summaries. Edit. Okay, we didn't program these two. These four. We haven't programmed calculate selection. We haven't programmed clear item. We haven't programmed font. We haven't programmed color. So calculate selection and clear item do the same thing as these buttons. So rather than program those all out, what we're going to do is we're going to call them. So we're going to double click on calculate selection, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go up here and we're going to find the calculate selection. Okay, here's the calculate button underscore click. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to highlight that, and we're going to copy it, and then we're going to go back down, and what we're going to do is we're going to call it. Okay, and then the argument list is going to be sender E. Okay, that's going to be your arguments. Okay, so that's going to call that, and then we can just remember you always have to comment. So we're going to do this calls the calculate button sub procedure. Well, we'll just put procedure. Okay, and then we need to do the same thing for the clear item. Okay, and we're just going to go find the clear item because we want to make sure that we don't make a mistake when we're typing. So I would rather cut and paste than type it out, because if you type it out, you're more likely to make a mistake. So again, we're going to call, and then we're going to do that. And sender E is always the two arguments that we're going to use. We're always going to use those. Okay, and then again, the same thing, calls the clear button procedure, because we want it to do exactly the same thing that it does for that. So those two are handled. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is we need to do the font. Okay, now the font works with our dialog box. So what we're going to do is first we want to do a comment. We want to tell what it does. Okay, so what we're going to do is this allows the user to select a new font for the summary totals. And what we're going to do is we're working with the font dialog box. So we'll do with font, and it should pull up the font dialog one that we're working with. Okay, and what we're going to do is you start out and you're talking .font, and this is subtotal text box .font. Okay, so what it's doing here is it's saying what we're going to be doing is we're assigning a font to, we're assigning fonts is what we're doing. And we're going to show dialog, which means we're showing the dialog box. Okay, these two lines are required. These two lines are the lines that are required to show the dialog box, to make the dialog box work. Okay. Alright, now these next lines are the lines that actually change the font in the dialog box. Okay, so we have the subtotal text box, dot font, equals, and then this dot font, of course, this is changing the font property in the subtotal text box. This dot font is saying choose whatever font the user chooses. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing with the tax text box. Oops. Don't forget, you have to tell it what property you want to change. And then we're going to do the total text box and the font, and then equals dot font. Okay, so and then end with and sub. Okay, so what we're doing is we're working just with these three boxes right here is what it's going to change. Okay, then we need to do the same thing for the color, and if you want to, you can just really copy this. Actually, I'm going to copy all of this because I want my comment too. And I'm just going to paste this here and allow the user, and I'm just going to change this to color, and I'm going to change this to okay, color dialog 1. Make sure that one of these highlights. If one of these doesn't highlight, then you've made a mistake. Okay, and then for this one, what we're doing here is this is going to change to color, but some of these are going to be different because there's for color and there's back color. So you have to designate which one you want to choose. Okay, so this one we're going to choose for color, which means that we're choosing the actual color of the font, not the fill color. Okay, so we have the for color changing here. Here we're going to change it to where am I? Okay, here we're going to change it to for color. Okay, but here we're just going to change it to color. Oops. Okay, because here we want to say which color we want to change. Here we're saying what color we want to change it to. Okay, so this is for color, and this is just color. Okay, again, this is for color, and this is just color. Okay, now, I'm going to tell you right now that this is not going to work, and in a minute, we're going to test it to show you that it's not going to work, and then in a minute, I'm going to show you how to fix it. Okay, so what you want to do now is you want to test everything. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run this. So I'm going to go and I'm going to calculate my selection. Okay, there's no tax because it's not takeout, so that's good. So clear for next item, check that. We're going to do 2 espressos, and I'm going to calculate my selection. That's good. Clear for next item. Okay, so I'm going to do a new order. That seems to work. So this time I'm going to do takeout, and this time I'm going to try these up in the edit. And I'm going to do calculate selection. Wow, that works cool. So I'm going to do clear for next item, and I'm going to do calculate selection. Okay, that works. And now I'm going to do my summary. Okay, that seems to work. Okay, I'm going to change my font. Okay, Mistral, bold, 14. Okay. And we have to have something in there. That works. Okay, edit, color, change it to purple. Okay, and that didn't work. Okay, and I told you that that wasn't going to work. So let's check everything else. The about. Okay, the about box, it looks like we forgot to program that, so that's wrong. And let's check our exit, and it looks like our exit doesn't work. So let's, we need to fix that. Okay. So let's start with our exit and see why that doesn't work. Okay, this doesn't work because it doesn't have the handles on it. Okay, so we have to have our exit tool strip menu item dot click. Okay, I told you that it wouldn't work if it didn't have that, so that's why that's not working. Okay, our colors. Our colors are not working because, for some really weird reason, when you click on this, and remember I said the back color is the background color, when that's control, okay, not the fore color, the back color. Okay, when that's control, for some reason it doesn't work. So you need to pick a different color, and I always use the menu bar because it's the same color, so I can keep the same color, but still use it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use menu bar here, and just change this back color on all three of them to menu bar. Okay, see, because that's the same color. And I need to program my about box. Okay, because apparently I forgot to program that. So we're going to do about the tool strip menu, and this displays the about message box. Okay, so first we're going to define a message string. We're going to declare a message string, and it's a string, which means it's that's text together. We get this, I guess it's a green squiggly line. That just means that it hasn't been used yet. We don't have to worry about that. Okay, now the reason we do a message string is just because it's less messy when you're doing your message box. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this. So it's RNR billing. Okay, and then we're going to use this ampersand. That's a concatenate character. And we're doing this environment dot, and then it picks new line for us because that's what it assumes we want. That's like hitting the enter key. Okay, and so I'm going to do the next, I'm going to go to the next line. The continuation is the space underscore. That's so that I can press, because enter actually signals that that's the end of line. But if I do the space underscore, that lets me continue my line, and we do that for readability. So I'm going to do another line, another new line, and we're going to do that same thing, environment dot new line. Okay, that's like doing another, hitting the enter key again, and another concatenate. That's concatenation. You have to concatenate to put things together, and we're going to put programmed by, and then put your name. Okay, and then what we're going to do now is we're going to do our message box. So we're going to do message box. Okay, and when we do a message box, we have a method, and there's certain things that we have to put in here. We have to do .show. You have to show it. Okay, and there's certain things you have to do in there. So first is your text as a string. So what we could have done is we could have put all this in there, but you can see how cumbersome and messy that would get. So instead, we're just going to put message string. So we have all that up here so that it's not so messy inside our parentheses, which is why we did it that way. So then the next thing we put is our caption. Our caption is, that's what shows up up here in that bar up there. So we're going to put about R in our billing. Okay, and then the next thing we want to do is which buttons we want. This is just kind of an okay thing. It's not a yes or a no. We're not asking for any information, so we're just going to put okay. And then which pretty little picture we want showing the icon. Okay, so, and that's all the information that we need in there. And if you think this is too much on one line, you can put just a, you can put a line continuation, move some of it down to the next line. Okay, now once we've done that, we want to go check again and make sure that it works, and we just need to test the things that didn't work before. So our about box didn't work, now it does. Okay, we don't want to test our exit because obviously that'll leave, but our colors didn't work before. So let's go ahead and put in a calculation, and what happened there? Did I press exit? Okay, let's go ahead and oh, you know what? Did I do edit instead of... Oh, I did. I put edit. Oops. Okay, so let's try that one more time. Okay, so calculate selection. So go to our edit and do our color and see. We'll do purple. See, and that does. See, now it changes. I don't know why it's like that. That's just one of those weird things. Okay, and now we need to see if our exit button works, and it does. Okay, so once you've done all that, make sure you test every single thing in your program to make sure it works correctly. Once you've done all that, go ahead, choose Save All, and zip your project and turn it in.